a chug-a-lug truck filling up with the trash. Is anybody hungry? Say I didn't ask. The eagle never hugs the fly. Don't ask why.
Absolutely brilliant. Knew it would be. Billy Fuller and his band. Billy, welcome back to the programme.
Hello, Mark.
And so, before we go any further, would you like to introduce your bandmates, please, and tell me where you stole them from?
Okay, well, I'll start with Joe, who's on keyboards and guitar.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe. Hey. Joe Charsley Smith. And I stole him from the Beak Row crew.
Nice one, very crafty.
Yeah, he's been our roadie for.
So that's a demotion of sort.
I see him as a son.
Oh, bless.
And I need to just keep looking after him and feeding him.
Nice. Yeah, I wonder what the baby's bottle was for.
And on drums, and he also plays a bit of synth and a bit of guitar, is Andy Suter. And
hello, Andy.
He's been playing drums around Bristol for years, and he's a great player, great guy. He likes to shower 3 times a day, and I used to play with him in the Annika stuff when we did the Beacon Annika record in 2010.
Right.
And he played all the drums on the live shows.
So is Andy not a little bit jealous of your relationship and your strong bond with Joe?
Nah, because...
You're not bothered, are you?
He's not bothered.
It's a different kind of relationship.
Right, okay. All right, leave it there then. Billy, before we go any further, I mean, it's not a TV item, this, but you stood up.
Well, I'm glad you noticed, yeah.
Hey?
I know.
What's going on there, then?
I'm just trying to keep fit, looking at my fitness. You know, I'm nearly 51. I just thought I need to sort myself out, you know.
Well, I'm not looking forward to reaching 51, so I should take a leaf out of your book, really. But, so, I was trying to think before, I mean, there must be loads of musicians who have played sat down. The only one I could immediately think of was Steve Hackett from Genesis. He always sat down.
Yeah.
You know, when he should really have had his foot on the monitor. So, what's made you? Is it because you are the focal point? Obviously, the act is called Billy Fuller, which is your name.
Straight away, I want to point out that there's no ego involved with this.
Oh yeah.
No, there's not. I mean, I'm struggling with this side of it, with it being in my name and there being any sort of spotlight on me. But obviously, I did all the music, so I've got to kind of deal with that. And the standing up thing was, I better sort of look like. I better stand up for a bit, you know. The thing that came with Beacon sitting down was I had this bass, and it was an old 60s catalogue bass, so it was only 50 quid.
Right.
And it didn't have any of these strap locks where you put the strap onto the instrument so you can stand up with it and it just hangs off your shoulder. It didn't have that. So, but in my brain, I've just thought, instead of putting strap locks on it, I'd just sit down and rest it on my knee.
Well,
so
you know,
that was a byproduct of that, really.
I was going to mention you can buy those stubs for probably not very much money at all.
They're very cheap.
It reminds me that Lawrence from Felt, when they originally started out, and one of my favourite bands, Felt, and you know Denham and Go-Kart Mozart and Mozart Estate, he didn't think that mic stands existed, right? He thought they only existed on top of the pops. And so he rigged up this contraption from his wardrobe to the door for the microphone to hang down, and then you could have knocked him over with a feather. And I think you were pretty much obviously the same with those stubs for the bass.
Yeah, exactly. It was just, just being lazy.
All right. Yeah, we got there in the end, didn't we?
Got there, yeah.
And so, all right then, I just also want to ask you, so when you grew up, what was it if you ever did grow up, a bit like myself, what took you towards the bass? And was it one particular musician who did it?
Well, it was my eldest brother, actually, Alan. He was the one who played records in our house. and he would listen to a lot of soul music and reggae and the jam. So I thought, Bruce Foxton was a big influence really early on, because that was the only sort of bass player I was hearing back then. I just thought he was a really good melodic kind of bass player, but I didn't actually know what a bass was. I just liked the sound of it, and the sound of all those bass players on those Motown records like James Jameson and whatnot, and all those like the reggae players and stuff. So.
Right, okay. A different question, and we'll get off the bass at that point.
No, keep going, I love it.
Who do you think is the best bass player of all time?
Wow. Well, do you know what? I think it's got to be Macca.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's Macca.
You see, I agree with that, and anybody who disagrees with me is wrong, and it just gets a little bit awkward at that point.
Yeah, I walked into Paul McCartney backstage somewhere once, and he looked at me and he went, "All right," and I just didn't know what to do. And I just, in that moment, I was so I couldn't believe it was him. And I just tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Well done," and ran away.
A non-specific well done?
Yeah, which is sort of like well done about everything you've done for everything, So
well, I
didn't
agree
know what
with
else
you.
To do.
Just quickly, I was in Abbey Road once, and this sounds like the most monumental name drops ever, but Ken Scott was remixing Ziggy, remastering it. And so I was in Abbey Road. I went to the toilet, being a good lad, I was washing my hands, then went over to the dryer. Somebody shoulder charged me off the dryer, and I turned on, obviously expecting me to just give a dig, kind of. Paul McCartney.
Wow, amazing.
And then I explained that I'd met him a couple of years before. Obviously, he wouldn't remember me, so he went, "Oh, right, but hang on outside, right? Hang on outside, we'll have a chat." So I did, and my mates are in the canteen at Abbey Road, and they're looking through saying, "What's Riley waiting there for?" Then Paul McCartney comes out of the loo and starts talking to me.
Yeah.
And so one of them clocks me and comes over and says, "Hey, Mark, would you like a pint?" I said, "No, I'm all right, actually, but meet Paul. This is Julian, meet Paul," and sat behind them with Pink Floyd.
Wow.
So, I mean...
Wow. Well, that's pretty heavy, isn't it?
I'm going to write a book just based on that 5-minute section of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. But anyway, all right, it's a name drop. You played, we never touched on this at all when you've been in with Beat, but you played with Robert Plant for a long time.
Yeah, 17 years, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so how did that come about?
So I was playing in a band called Fuzz Against Junk, who were the first band on Invader Records, Jeff Barrow's label.
Yeah.
And we were playing in a pub, the Louisiana, in
Yeah.
Bristol, upstairs. 10 people were there, right? And I'm playing electric bass, double bass. One of the people in the crowd was Jeff, who I didn't know then, right?
Right.
But earlier that day, he had a phone call from two guys, John Baggott and Clive Deemer, who used to play in Portishead with him.
Right.
And they were then playing with Robert Plant, and they said, "Oh, our bass player's left. We've been trying loads of different bass players, and nothing's working out. Do you know, if you see anyone who can play electric and upright bass, just give us a shout, because we're really stuck." And he went to Louisiana that night, and he didn't really know anything about the band or us or me or anything. And he saw me standing there like playing an SG bass and a bit of upright bass, and he just went, "Oh, this is a coincidence." And at the end, it was like, "Oh, do you fancy doing an audition tomorrow for Robert Plant?" And it was like, "Yeah, okay," but I had to get in my mate's car. I didn't have a car. So he was a sort of, he was working on a building site, so I had to get my gear in next to his cement mixer. And he drove me out there. And they just threw about 20 tunes at me that day. And at the end, they said, "Greg, can you come to Oslo with us next week? We got a gig."
Wow.
And that was it. And I was working at a record shop at the time on £500 a month or whatever. And it was like, and then next minute I was in Robert Plant's band playing bass.
Incredible.
Really weird, yeah.
And obviously within those songs, there were Led Zeppelin songs, weren't there?
Yeah. Oh no, that was one because I knew how to play them, because I used to buy cassettes down at the petrol station at the bottom of our road, which were like £1.50. Do you remember you used to get those?
Yeah.
And I got that David Bowie live at Santa Monica '72 from that petrol station. Brilliant record. And and I learned how to play all the Zepp tunes, those cassettes. So when they were throwing them at me, I was just like, "Oh yeah, ramble on, boom, what should never be, boom." And they were just like, "Oh, wow, this is easy."
Right, amazing. Yeah, just amazing. Yeah. And so, your album then, Fragments.
Yeah.
So, does the title give us a kind of inkling as to how it came together?
Yeah, it's fragments of my hard drive of like working through 12, 15 years of demos for Beak and whatnot, and it's stuff that either never got used or got forgotten about. And or sometimes it was just me just being in the room for myself, just enjoying playing music because it's just good for your head and all that, And then Reg Invader was like, "I reckon it's time for a Billy Fuller solo album." I was like, "Oh God," going in the studio and like it all gets a bit serious, and it's like, And I went home and I was like going through all my old demos, and there was about 60. And I pulled out it was 16 tunes that sort of came together, and they sort of lived together, even though we're like completely different. I was like, oh, there's a story here, you know, and it just sounded really good. And it was like, yeah, it's fragments of bits and pieces of what I've done over the years. And
it's a brilliant record. We've been playing it since you sent it to us quite a while ago.
Yeah, cheers.
Absolutely love it. I need to ask you, Beak, you know, obviously Jeff, in fact, Jeff very kindly gave you a copy of his game.
That's right, yeah.
Which, so Invader Films.
That's right, it's an amazing film, yeah, and there's going to be a screening this, what is it, Joe? Is it this Thursday?
Yeah, live stream premiere Thursday, sorry.
Yeah, this Thursday, yeah.
7:30.
Okay, amazing.
With a Q&A as well. Yeah.
Right. Okay, and so what's happened with Beak then? Obviously, so Jeff did jump ship, and so now, can you tell us exactly where you're up to?
Yeah, we're writing in my house, back in Yatton, near Bristol, and we've got about 7 demos together, me, Will, and an as yet unnamed drummer.
Wow, okay. Yeah. All right then.
Well,
something to look
sounding
forward to.
Good. Don't worry, kids.
Yeah, no, excellent stuff. That is excellent news, and of course, what you're doing now is wonderful. So you've got some more dates. You've done 2 dates already.
Yeah.
But tomorrow you're playing the Lexington in London.
That's right.
And then the 18th you've got the Hug and Pint in Glasgow. The 19th is Leeds Brunel Social Club, which is the last place that I saw Beat performing. And then the 25th is Bristol Strange Brew. Any more dates than that lined up? That's all I've got.
There's going to be some in November. We're going to do some festivals around Europe and maybe do some UK shows. I'm trying to, so get some more gigs in that part of the year.
Brilliant. Okay, well, you've got 2 tunes to do for us. You're going to do one now and then one with a short break in between. So what is next then, Billy Fuller?
The next tune is Todo, or To Do.
I did wonder.
However, it's when you write a to-do list and you forget to put the space in, but I like the sound of Todo.
All right, Todo it is.
Yeah, why not?
You're the boss.
Yeah, why not?